It's time for a Drum Talk TV music industry news desk report.
Strap yourself in for where prohibited batteries not included, not available in State of Shock.
Hello, everyone watching this Drum Talk TV news desk report, and happy Halloween. What a day to have this on. But introductions are in order before we go over all the music news and Drum Talk TV news in this day in music. I'm Steven Shinder, and this is Shylee Graf. How's it going, Shylee?
I'm doing great. How are you, Steven?
Pretty good. I'm kind of... I know that there are like Halloween super fans. There are definitely people who get like super into it. Maybe I don't go through as much effort, but I love Halloween, so I'm pretty jazzed about it, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Walking across a college campus today, seeing lots of costumes, very fun. So it's been an exciting day so far.
Yeah, totally. So over at drumtalktvbrilliance.com, the viewers or any of our followers, you can still use our premium discount code DTTVB330 until 11:59 p.m. Pacific tonight, October 31st. This code will give you 75% off the premium membership, which allows you to watch our artist Q&As and virtual concerts, as well as other fun stuff. A third of the cost of each membership will go to the Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund in Globe, Arizona, where devastating floods took place recently. So check that out and contribute what you can. And as a reminder, the premium membership will allow you to take part in upcoming Q&As. We've got Cindy Blackman Santana tomorrow, November 1st, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. 7 p.m. UK time, since it's before our time change, and after Sunday it'll be like the 8-hour gap between us again. And followed by Alice Cooper drummer Neil Smith and Jason Aldean's drummer Rich Redmond later in mid-November. But now it's that time. It's that time again.
Now it's time for
Icebreaker.
So, Shylee, my question to you and to the audience, anyone watching live or after the fact, you can all comment. My question to you is there any music from any particular thing you consider a Halloween watch, whether it be a show or a movie? Like, is there any music from anything like that that really stands out to you?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that the music from The Nightmare Before Christmas, the Tim Burton film, is so fun. This Is Halloween is, one of the most memorable songs, I think. Gets stuck in your head very easily. And obviously it's The Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's really kind of a Halloween movie because it's set in Scary Town. So it's kind of a fun, like, in-between holiday movie. And I think that soundtrack is just really great. How about you?
Yeah, it would probably be like the number one choice among lots of people. Like I saw earlier on Instagram, how they have the share notes thing and you could choose a song. I saw a couple of friends use This Is Halloween for that. So for me, I know it would be super easy to just say like Halloween, the John Carpenter's Halloween theme, because it's so iconic, but I'm gonna also throw in, I would say, not Nosferatu, the silent film. I know there's been a few different iterations, perhaps different scores used for it, but there is music in a couple of those different versions that just really enhances the film. They can't rely on dialogue, so you kind of have to go with the music. And when it's like really creepy, it just works so well. I think music is a huge part that enhances the spooky horror vibes for some things.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great choice.
All right. So now we move on to the next segment.
time for This Day in Music History. Why not the whole week? Because we'd be here forever.
All right, so it's going to be interesting seeing what happened on Halloween's past in music history. So October 31st, 2023, The Rolling Stones were at number 1 on the UK chart with their 24th studio album, Hackney Diamonds, which went number 1 in 20 countries and promoted with a worldwide advertising campaign. On August 17th of that year, an advertisement appeared in the Hackney Gazette teasing the album, referencing several Rolling Stones songs and featuring their Tongues logo.
Yes, and on this day in 2015, One Direction played their final gig on their world tour before going on their self-proclaimed extended break. The show in Sheffield, England was the last of 80 shows across 20 countries. The group insisted they were not splitting up and that they just wanted to focus on their solo projects. Obviously, now we're 10 years out exactly from their final show, which is wild and insane to think about. And, they've not really come back as a band. The band members have been doing great things with their solo projects. Obviously, now a full reunion can't happen now that Liam Payne passed away last year. So, I think One Directioners have to finally accept that maybe what they once thought was going to happen isn't going to happen in the way they think it is. But, they've still got a lot of music going on from the individual members.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. But yeah, with the solo projects, there's still, I'm not like super in tune with what they put out, but I imagine that with their solo projects, they're putting out music that they feel fulfills them and goes along with what they're about. So, it's good that they're still doing that. There are some bands where they're able to do solo projects alongside working with the band's scheduling, and there are instances like this where it's either one or the other. But yeah, at least they're still putting out some sort of music as solo projects. In 2005, the white suit worn by John Lennon on the cover of the Beatles' iconic album cover Abbey Road sold for $118,000 at an auction in Las Vegas. An Austin Princess hearse driven by Lennon in the documentary Imagine sold for $150,000. A portion of the proceeds went to Amnesty International.
Wow, lots of money there. In 1998, chart history was made in the UK when the UK Top 5 Singles chart included entirely new entries. Alanis Morissette was at number 5, Culture Club at number 4, U2 at number 3, George Michael at number 2, and Cher took number 1 with Believe. This also made Cher, who was 52 years old at the time, the first female artist to have a number 1 single at over the age of 50. The song went to number 1 in 23 countries.
Yeah, that's a real milestone there, because I feel like for a time, and maybe in some corners of the music market today, it's still true. It kind of felt like you would have to be young to be a star in the music scene, but we've seen various musicians still continue to do what they're doing past the age of 50. So, people can still surprise putting out music at higher ages, So this next one from 1996, Slash announced that he was no longer part of Guns N' Roses due to interpersonal issues between him and guitarist Axl Rose that had been going on since 1994. That's interesting. Yeah, we have a couple other Guns N' Roses bits of news later on. Let me see. Oh, I see we have a couple comments here. Johnny says, Johnny on YouTube says 80s metal, King Diamond, Merciful Fate. So I guess that might be an answer to the icebreaker question in terms of maybe Halloween type music. And he said you would think the Stones would just enjoy all that money and retire. But yeah, that's funny because some of these musicians, they have a lot of money already. So, but I guess they still want to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, certainly. All right, jumping back in, October 31st, 1990. During a gig in Seattle, Washington, Billy Idol dumped 600 dead fish in Faith No More's dressing room. The rock band responded to this by walking on stage naked during Idol's set. Obviously, it was Halloween. This could have very well been a sort of funny Halloween prank gone wrong or gone too far. But yeah, there's no really context of if they were having issues or if there was anything that preceded this, but very interesting happenings.
Yeah, it's really wild stuff. And yeah, it's a real head scratcher. Back in 1974, and this is sort of another thing along that vein, Led Zeppelin held the UK launch for their new record label Swan Song at Chislehurst Caves, Kent, England on Halloween night. Interesting features included nuns in suspenders serving drinks, a naked woman in a coffin covered in jelly, and male wrestlers performing. Label mates Bad Company, The Pretty Things, and Maggie Bells were also in attendance, and the launch also tied in the release of The Pretty Things' new album, Silk Torpedo, named after an unreleased Led Zeppelin instrumental track. So again, there we see some really wild, out there stuff going on Halloween. You know, some of those things just sometimes were a thing, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think the music scene really just latches onto Halloween and does what it wants with it. So interesting. In 1969, David Bowie appeared at a Halloween celebration at General Gordon Gravesend, England, where he played for about 15 minutes, including his popular song Space Oddity. He then dragged a stool on stage with a huge book and proceeded to read poems until he was booed off the stage. That's really interesting. You would think that people who were fans of David Bowie would like want to latch on to every word he said, but I guess they draw the line at poetry. They're like, no, get off our stage. We want to hear the music.
Yeah, and as a poet myself, you know, I've got a lot of poems I've written, and even if they're not in song form, I'd like them to be heard. So it's really disheartening to hear that these people, I guess, weren't into it. And I guess you also got to remember, like, this was really early in Bowie's career, so he didn't have as much of a stardom that he would have. So maybe if it were several years later, people would have been more respectful, but still they should have been more respectful here. It's kind of a sad thing, but hey, he showed them with his big career, you know. Oh, this next one is me. In 1964, the Supremes started a 4-week run at #1 on the U.S. singles chart with Baby Love, the group's second of 5 consecutive #1 singles. Wow, that's a really good streak there, like 5 #1 singles in a row.
Yeah, that is wild. Very, great record for them. In 1963, the Beatles returned to London from Sweden, where they were met with screaming fans and mobs of photographers and journalists. Ed Sullivan happened to be at Heathrow at the same time and witnessed the Beatlemania, which urged him to look into getting this group on his U.S. television.
Yeah, that's a pretty famous broadcast right there. You know, you always hear about the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. And rounding this segment out, 1994, Vera Lynn was at #1 on the UK singles chart with My Son, which was the singer's only #1 hit. Lynn, who had 3 songs in the first ever top 12 in 1952, was known as the Force's sweetheart during World War II. Yeah, and I also see in the comments, Johnny says poems make great songs, and yeah, I agree. I think the Moody Blues might have even incorporated a little bit of like what sounded like spoken poetry and something, or I might be conflating a couple things, but yeah, I really like poetry. All right, so he also says bring back Motown. All right, so now for this next segment.
Let's see what's in the news at John Talk TV. Yeah.
All right, with October ending, submit your entries now for the Chris Adler Tribute Drumming Challenge. We had 11:59 p.m. Pacific time tonight, October 31st, as the deadline. And there will be a couple of other challenges for November announced on our socials over the next couple of days, so keep an eye out for that. Winners win prizes, including the chance to be interviewed. In fact, Dan will be interviewing Ryan Kaiser Wednesday, November 5th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Remember, the time change is coming on Sunday, since he won the Ginger Baker Tribute Drumming Challenge. Check out this video for the Chris Adler themed challenge.
Get your medal on this rockin' October as we hold the Chris Adler Tribute Drumming Challenge over at DrumTalkTVBrilliance.com. If you place first, second, or third in this challenge, you'll get a music store gift certificate and a Drum Talk TV shirt. Shirts only ship in the US. First place winner can also get interviewed on Drum Talk TV. Step 1. Choose a track that features Chris Adler on drums. Lamb of God, Megadeth, Protest the Hero, anything he's played on as long as it's the official track, which will not get muted or pulled from our site. Step 2. Video record your play-along horizontally. Step 3. Submit it via the submissions form on the challenge page. To access this, you'll need to be either a free member or a premium member. Free members can enter 2 videos, premium members can enter as many videos to the challenge as they'd like. Judging will be based on accuracy, sound, and fan praise in the form of people typing the word VOTE under your video. Invite your friends to do so. Submissions open until October 31st, 2025, 11:59 p.m. Pacific US time. Don't miss out. Join us in the challenge and show us what you got.
Join us. Submit your videos. And another great reason to join the premium membership over at Drum Talk TV Brilliance is it'll allow you the chance to see fan Q&As. This past Wednesday, we had one with Brian Tidgy, who's played with Whitesnake, Don Felder, Ozzy Osbourne, and more. And tomorrow, we have one with Cindy Blackman Santana. It'll be Saturday, November 1st, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. And she is a jazz drummer who has performed with Pharoah Sanders, Sonny Simmons, Ron Carter, Sam Rivers, Cassandra Wilson, Angela Bofill, Buckethead, whom Johnny in the comments is a huge fan of, apparently, Bill Laswell, Lenny Kravitz, Joe Henderson, Joss Stone, and, of course, Carlos Santana. Go figure. And, again, we have a discount code DTTVB330, which you can use until 11:59 p.m. tonight. And here's the video of Cindy's invite.
Hi, this is Cindy Blackman Santana, and I'm very happy to announce that I'll be doing a fan Q&A over on DrumTalkTVBrilliance.com, and this is going to take place on Saturday, November 1st at 12 p.m. Pacific time, and it'll be 3 p.m. Eastern time. There'll be a button that you can click and ask some questions, and when I answer, you'll be able to get online, and so we'll be face-to-face, so to speak, kind of close up and virtually personal when I'm answering your questions, so make them good ones. There's also going to be some information for you to check out in terms of what to do and how to get on, so please read the information before you try to click on, so that you know what to do. I'm really looking forward to this and looking forward to seeing all of you there. See you on Saturday.
Very exciting stuff coming up. There are other various events listed on our calendar at drumtalktvbrilliance.com. This past Tuesday, we had our music trivia game with the theme being Disco Collides with Rock. Our next one will be on Tuesday, November 4th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the trivia theme being 90s funk, metal, and prog. So RSVP on the calendar event page, and you'll get the Zoom link emailed directly to you.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. And last Saturday on Yes Shift, Dad and I chatted with keyboardist Adam Parrish about his experiences with Rick Wakeman, performing with Gordon Giltrap, Yes Topics, and more. Then Dad and I talked about John Anderson's The Lost Tapes box set, since it was also John Anderson's birthday. I'll be going live Sunday, November 2nd, 10 a.m. Pacific, with a Yes Shift News Desk edition, distilling some of the recent Yes and related news. And then Friday, November 7th, 9 a.m. Pacific, I'll be talking about my vinyl copy of 9012 Live The Solos. So check those out.
Very exciting. Wednesday night, Dan went live with Lou Calderola on another episode of Under the Influence to talk about scary songs. Yesterday, Dan interviewed Roger Earl, drummer of Foghat, again, this time about the band's upcoming UK tour dates in November. And this coming Wednesday, November 5th, at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Dan will interview Matt Indies, who runs a Facebook group called Phoenix Area Drummers. And on Friday, November 7th, noon Pacific, before our new show, Dan, along with Jeff Berlin, will go live with another episode of Rhythm and Lows, talking about their favorite drummer-bassist duos.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff going on. But now we have to take a moment and go on to this next segment here.
And now a moment to acknowledge those who have passed.
Alrighty.
And now a moment to acknowledge those.
All right. So Jack DeJohnette, revered jazz drummer, passed away on Sunday, October 26th. The New York Times reported that a family representative confirmed that the cause of death was congestive heart failure. Known for his versatility and talent, DeJohnette was instrumental in the jazz scene of the mid-1960s through the 70s and beyond. In a 2015 video interview, he likened himself to a painter, saying, I'm like a colorist on the drums, so I can work within time, but I can also be free of it, more elastic in that sense. In 1966, he joined a quartet led by saxophonist and flautist Charles Lloyd, featuring Keith Jarrett and Cecil McBee, and the group went on to play rock venues like the Fillmore in San Francisco, sharing a bill with Jefferson Airplane, the Grateful Dead, and Big Brother and the Holding Company. He went on to be an accomplished band leader and composer, heading innovative groups of the 1970s, including New Directions and Special Edition. He also was a part of Miles Davis's music group and was featured in the band's 1970 album Bitches Brew that defined the group's shift to electric fusion. DeJohnette was 83 years old. Yeah, I've definitely heard that album talked about in circles. So, definitely an influential musician here that we've lost recently. But yeah, there are lots of tributes. So it definitely meant a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. Very sad news.
Yeah. All right. So now we go to general music industry news.
Now let's see what's been going on this week in the music industry.
Okay, with today being Halloween, Billboard released the top 25 Halloween songs of all time on the Hot 100 chart. The top 5 songs listed don't come as a surprise. Monster Mash by Bobby Boris, Pickett, and the Crypt Kickers is listed at number 1, not only on this chart, but also the Hot 100 chart dated October 20th, 1962. Ghostbusters by Ray Parker Jr. is listed at number 2, Frankenstein by the Edgar Winter Group follows at number 3, and The Monster by Eminem featuring Rihanna, and On Our Own from Ghostbusters 2 by Bobby Brown round out the top 5 at spots number 4 and 5, respectively. Other entries that I found interesting and notable were Bad Moon Rising by Creedence Clearwater Revival at number 14, The Devil Went Down to Georgia by the Charlie Daniels Band at number 17, You're the Devil in Disguise by Elvis Presley with the Jordanaires at number 21, and Thriller by Michael Jackson at number 22. Chime in on what your favorite or most memorable Halloween song is, whether they're on this list or not.
Yeah, some of these are very familiar. Monster Mash is always going to be on there. Ghostbusters is catchy. And of course, you've got Thriller and The Devil Went Down to Georgia. But yeah, there are a few others I'm not sure that I know off the top of my head. But maybe if I put them on, I'll be like, oh yeah, it's that song, Alrighty, so last week during a Guns N' Roses concert in Buenos Aires, frontman Axl Rose threw his microphone at the drum kit, kicked the bass drum, and stormed off stage during the opening number Welcome to the Jungle, according to NME magazine. Fan-filmed footage shows Rose ripping off his leather jacket and leaving the stage after the outburst, later returning to tell the crowd, "So I'll just try and wing this." The PRP reported about fan speculation of tensions with new drummer Isaac Carpenter, who joined the band in March after longtime drummer Frank Ferrer his departure. But the band later clarified on Instagram that Rose's frustration stemmed from technical issues with his in-ear monitors, which left him hearing only percussion. There's this quote saying from that statement, "The issue was fixed by our tech team by the third song, and we had a great night." Guns N' Roses' South American tour continues with dates in Brazil, Peru, and Mexico through early November. Yeah, this was, I imagine, quite a shock to see in the moment, that reaction. But the fact that it had to do with in-ear monitors, I think we had like something similar, not like that type of reaction, but with The Who earlier this year being like, oh, there was some issues with the in-ear monitors or something. And yeah, I kind of wonder like if this could have been prevented ahead of time. Like I kind of like, I don't rehearse in bands like these. I don't know how everything works, but I do wonder if there's more preparation that could have been done somehow, or if sometimes there are these things that happen in the moment and it's just, yeah, I don't know. What do you think of this, Shylee?
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure that was really frustrating. It's hard to keep on track with the music when you can only hear one part. I'm sure it just threw him off and he was overwhelmed. So definitely understandable frustrations there. Also related to Guns N' Roses, during an interview with SiriusXM's Trunk Nation on Thursday, October 23rd, Slash mentioned Guns N' Roses have no plans to perform at the Sphere in Las Vegas, as it might not be rock and roll friendly. He said, quote, "I haven't been to the Sphere yet, but just everything that I've seen, or most everything that I've seen of it, looks amazing. I'm really trepidatious about playing there because it's a great visual show. I think that in almost every case for a band, it becomes a visual show as opposed to seeing a rock and roll show. So there's that." Very interesting. Maybe don't ever say never, but that is an interesting take from him.
Yeah, you kind of got to wonder if he's said that now, are the people at the Sphere going to be like, oh, we don't want to invite them then? Or are they going to be like, oh, we got to invite them to show that we really want them? Like it could go either way or something. But next up, we learned via Yahoo of a recent Fanshot video post of a show on August 9th in which Led Zeppelin drummer John Bonham's sister, Deborah Bonham, was performing at Fairport's Crop Ready convention when Robert Plant joined her on stage to sing Ramble On. Fans are very enthusiastic about this. Yeah, that's a really fun thing to have happen. John Bonham was such a huge part of Led Zeppelin and the people around him. So to see this connection there, I'm sure it was like really wholesome to see. And regarding Robert Plant, again, viewers may or may not already know this, but Dad interviewed Robert Plant's drummer, Ollie Jefferson, recently. It was a really great chat. He's a really down-to-earth guy. And later next month, I should say, later in November, Dad and I are going to go see Robert Plant's band's show here in Los Angeles. So that'll be a lot of fun. Very much looking forward to that.
Sounds like a great time in store for you too. Also, in an interview with Rolling Stone, singer Paul Rodgers was asked whether there might be a Bad Company reunion at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction in a few weeks. His response was, quote, "Well, we may. We'll see how it goes. Well, they want us to, and I may. I haven't decided what songs to sing at this point in time, but it could be Rock and Roll Fantasy. This would be the first time the band has performed since 2019. Part of that is due to his health, as he has had 11 minor strokes and 2 major strokes in the past decade, though his wife, Cynthia Caroluck, says that he is doing very well. Very interesting and fun news. Hopefully they show up.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, as we see, a lot of the decisions are health related. And as we continuously say on the show, health does come first. According to an October 27th article from Ultimate Classic Rock, Stray Cats had to cancel the first 2 shows of their autumn tour due to frontman Brian Setzer's serious illness. The shows were to take place October 25th in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and October 26th in Rockford, Illinois. Setzer, who said he's dealing with an autoimmune disease which has kept him from playing guitar, said, "I know this affects so many people and I'm devastated to have to deliver this news. I've been trying to do everything I can to go on and do this show, but it is just not possible. I've been looking forward so much to being on stage with my bandmates again and playing for all of our amazing fans, and I'm gutted." The tour is, however, scheduled to continue on Tuesday in Louisville, Kentucky, and will end November 23rd in Wheatland, California. So hopefully things chug along well for those tour dates that are coming up. Like, you can never really know, but hopefully things work out for them.
Yeah, and surprised that they were actually supposed to play in Rockford, Illinois. That's only about 30 minutes south of me. So very interesting, fun little local tidbit. Hopefully they can continue and have a good rest of their tour. In an interview with Jason Green of Waste Some Time with Jason Green, Nico McBrain confirmed that he is still technically Iron Maiden, despite having retired from touring with the band nearly a year ago, partially due to a stroke he suffered in January 2023. According to a blabbermouth transcription from October 24th, he said, quote, "I'm still a member of the band, but what does that mean exactly? Well, I'm still part of the family, so I do a lot of work with the fan club, and I'm going out and doing still Iron Maiden-related stuff. And yeah, it's great." When asked about playing on a new album, he responded, "First of all, there's no plans to make a new album as of yet. That could change. So if that's the case, they may be asked to do a couple of songs." That's really exciting news. Glad to hear that he is still involved to some degree and is still, looking forward to the future with the band.
Yeah, with a lot of the bands I follow, I'm so used to lineup changes, and whenever a lineup change happens, there will be sort of distance between the current members and the former members and not a lot of involvement. But it's cool to see that bands like this and Kansas is another one, still have some of the former members involved with the organization still, even if they do kind of have to take a step back. All right, so this next bit of news we have here, also according to Blabbermouth, The Damned has announced the release of Not Like Everybody Else, a covers album dedicated to the memory of Brian James, the band's legendary founding guitarist, who passed away on March 6th, 2025. Tracks include There's a Ghost in My House, Summer in the City, Making Time, Gimme Danger, See Emily Play, that's a Pink Floyd one I'm familiar with, I'm Not Like Everybody Else, Heart Full of Soul, You Must Be a Witch, When I Was Young, and The Last Time. To celebrate the album, The Damned will play a one-off covers show at Albert Hall in Manchester on January 28th, 2026. They will also have a special 50th anniversary show at OVO Arena, Wembley on Saturday, April 11th, 2026. So quite the events to look forward to in the new year.
Yes, very exciting news for them. According to Parade, Peter Frampton will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of Frampton Comes Alive. He's doing a video-recorded concert for TV on November 8th at Nashville's Analog, billed as Frampton Comes Alive 50th Hits and More. Tickets to the special show, which will air on PBS stations and YouTube, are available now. Despite his farewell tour in 2019 after being diagnosed with a degenerative disease, inclusion body myositis, Frampton is still performing, even if seated.
Yeah, again, it's all about knowing limitations, All right, so next up, we actually have this news item that came up this morning, just in time for Halloween. So this press release said, out of the ashes of 7 witches comes Night Terror. The first single and video, Remedy is in Poison, is out now through Deco Entertainment. The Night Terrors is the supergroup rising from the newly energized ashes of 7 witches and the brainchild of acclaimed guitarist Jack Frost. Frost, who besides being the face of 7 witches, is best known for playing and touring with national acts such as Aldo Nova, Savatage, Joey Belladonna, Lizzie Borden, and many others, put together this monster all-star band of who's who in metal today. The lineup consists of vocal legend Jason McMaster of Dangerous Toys and Watchtower, drum icon Carl Wilcox of Diamond Head, Tank and Brothers in Arms, and bassist extraordinaire Dennis Hayes of Iced Earth and 7 Witches, and also esteemed special guest on keys Eric Ragno of London. Night Terror's debut album, Return of the Witches, will bring you back to the era of the famed 7 Witches Passage to the Other Side record. According to the Deco Entertainment website, the physical album ships out late November. So it's great that they were at least able to put this song out for Halloween. It's really great timing there to just, get it out there in the music sphere. Not the venue, but, like the public eye of music fans is what I'm saying.
Yeah, certainly very exciting news.
All right, so now we come to the end, which means...
It's a reminder of what's coming up soon on Drum Talk TV.
All right, folks, don't forget to record and submit your videos to this month's Chris Adler Drumming Challenge by 11:59 p.m. Pacific Time tonight. And keep an eye on our socials for any information regarding new November challenges. Go to drumtalktvbrilliance.com to submit your entries.
And tomorrow we have the fan Q&A with Cindy Blackman Santana over on drumtalktvbrilliance.com. Register for that. Our discount code DTTVB330 expires tonight. That's 75% off. And of course, don't forget to RSVP to our next game show on Tuesday, November 4th, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for 90s funk, metal, and prog themed game. Come have some fun. All right, so that'll do it. And Shylee, thanks again for being here to co-host this, and happy Halloween. All right, so now we got the outro music here.